So there's one particular problem when playing the Pyromancer and the builds. Either you have a really boss melting build, like you're seeing it right now, or you have a really good mob clearing build. But I have a solution for that problem because I made a build that not only melts bosses, like you're seeing in the video, but also melts mobs, as you're also seeing in the video. And that is the solution to your number one problem. How can you get the best Pyromancer build that's good at mobbing and good at bossing? Today we're going to tell you guys how we put all this build together and every single thing you need in order for you guys to get the best and most broken Pyromancer build out in the internet. It's a lot different than other ones, so you guys are definitely going to make sure you stay tuned to find out exactly how we put this together. With that being said, guys, if you do enjoy the video, hit that like button because it does help us out a lot, and share it because it does help as well. All right, so with that being said, guys, let's dive in and take a look at our gear. So we're going to get started with the weapons, because if you understand how the weapons work, you'll understand how the build works and how it synergizes with the skill tree and also with the gear. So first weapons we're going to be starting, I'm going to tell you guys your number one priority. You're pretty much just looking for a weapon that has mage's rage. If you're building this from scratch, that is the main thing you want to get in your primary weapon. Now this particular weapon, the main thing we're doing with this one, this is just going to be used for bosses. You pretty much, if you guys see my level 40 run with this build on my channel, I'll link it down below in the description towards the end as well. You're going to notice that I swap weapons whenever I'm mobbing and also when I'm killing bosses. This is going to be our boss one. What we were looking for here is something that does a lot of damage and something that we're able to proc and level up our anomaly power. The god roll here, guys, would be anything with Mage's Race and Fortress, and another mod that gives you a ton of damage when you use it. But that is the main bread and butter that you're looking for, your main boss weapon. For our secondary weapon, guys, you're basically looking for any single weapon that has First Things First or Death Room. Basically, just look for a weapon that either drops with one of these two mods, Death Room or First Things First, and that the weapon has armor piercing. For those of these weapons, you want to have armor piercing on either, basically, if you could have armor piercing on all three, it's the best. But your main boss weapon and your secondary weapon, you want to have armor piercing, because we convert our armor piercing into anomaly damage, and I'm going to explain that a little bit further in the video. Now, that is the main thing you want, armor piercing. That's the main thing. If you get status power, that's even better. If you get armor piercing, like this one doesn't have status power, but status powers would help us boost up that ash and that burn damage more. But for our secondary, we want First Things First and Death Room. That is the main thing. Now, this is not that important. You could actually go with something similar to this or anything. It doesn't really matter, but you're kind of looking for the same combo in case you don't get this one. Okay, that's basically what you're doing. Now, with that being said, how is this going to synergize with our armor? So we're running the lava leech, we're running the headpiece, the chest piece, and of course the pants, and we have purples in our gloves and in our boots. So for our helmet, guys, this is what we're looking for: anomaly, status power, skill, life leech. That's what it drops with, and that's what basically you're looking across the board for every single piece of gear. Here, guys, we have Maga Coat, which drops with the weapon. It increases the lava damage over time by 500,000. Okay, really important. We have Ashen Boost right here. Boost your damage against enemies inflicted by ash. This one could be easily swapped with anything like Anomaly Enhancement or Anomaly Echo. Anything like that, that can easily be swapped. I just happened to have rolled Ashen Boost, but Anomaly Echo would have done a really good amount of damage as well. So you could pick any other mod, or you could be happy with any other mod that boosts Anomaly. You guys should be good. The main thing you want here is Death Sentence. Basically, what that's going to do is when you do the Ash Blast, your weapon damage and anomaly damage is going to get boosted up and increased by 40% and 30% for 5 seconds, which is really good. That's how we're getting a lot of damage. Next up, guys, for the robes. For the robes, they drop with Giggle Blast, and we went ahead and put Arms of Anomaly, and we also have Turn Up the Heat. This means that the skill could be activated twice before cooldown, allowing us to have that nice little proc right here. Now, theoretically speaking, guys, you do need the Giggle Bites because you want to make sure that their weapon skill has a very wide radius. So that's what you're definitely looking for here. Next up, guys, for our robes, we're going to be doing, it drops with improved damage, which it increases the explosion damage of Eruption. We put Detonator here. Now, Detonator in particular is not a requirement, and sometimes it's a detriment when it comes to the bosses. You can go with a different mod, but I find the fact that you're able to spam this more important than you putting another mod here. Even though it does take a little bit of less damage when you're killing a boss, you're able to proc it more. So I personally like this one, but you could swap this with anything else. And we have Sunburn here, which is going to increase the overheat by almost 800k damage, which is really good, right? Next up, guys, for our gloves, we're running Pompeii. Pompeii is a requirement for this build. That means that its skill could be activated more than once. We also have no resistance against the Fortified, another really important mod and a requirement, because what we do is we convert our resistant piercings to armor piercing and our armor piercing into anomaly, allowing us to do a lot of damage. Now, another requirement for this build is Edna. Edna is really good, but because that does is that the eruption skill can be activated one more time before triggering the cooldown. And in addition to that, the skill also applies burn. It's extremely important. A lot of people take this for granted because that is a skill. Applying burn gives you two status effects, gives you ash and gives you burn, making you do even more damage. Now for these purples, guys, you're looking with anything that has anomaly power, cooldown reduction. That is definitely what you guys are going to be primarily trying to target. Now for this purpose, guys, we also have Master Consumer, which is a really good drop that I got here. We went ahead and put Captain Hunter because we want to do that extra damage to elites. And we got Unstoppable Force to roll on this one. So this one's going to increase our anomaly power. This is what technically converts our resistant piercing into anomaly power, allowing us to have 3.4 million anomaly power. Now, let me show you guys the stats real quick here. The armor piercing is at 40, resistant piercing is at 95. So this is allowing us to do a ton of damage with our anomaly power because we're converting this into anomaly power, giving us a big chunk of anomaly power here as it's here. As you see, guys, with my run, I'm level 73, so I'm under 2 levels, and you guys are still seeing the amount of damage that I'm doing because my boots are really bad. They're 73, and I think I have something else. These are actually 75s, but I think I have another piece that's really low, which is my handgun. So if I were to get a better gun here that has armor piercing, so if I were to get a higher level gun like this one, it would make my anomaly power go down, but that's because I don't have the proper mods. But if that had the proper mods, it would definitely increase my anomaly power even further to make it really good. As you guys see right there, really awesome and really good. So that is so you guys can get an idea of exactly what it is that we're doing when we're applying this particular mods. Now, with that being said, guys, let's take a look at the skills and what makes this particular build so powerful and great. So we're running our skills. We're running Ash Blast on a 10-second cooldown. We run Overheat, which is a 4-second cooldown. That's as slow as you can get it. This makes it really spammy. And then we have Eruption at an 11-second cooldown. I wish you could bring this down a little bit, maybe to 8. It would be perfect, but we have what we have. Next up, guys, for class tree, this is where my class tree is a little bit different than the majority of people. It looks similar, but it's different, and I'll explain why. So we're picking up a lot of anomaly nods. As you guys know, main thing here is anomaly. We're picking up damage power as well because any marked enemy is going to get damage. And we're also going to be going up here, and what we're doing here is going to increase our damage against by 20% enemies that are below 30% health, allowing us to kill the boss. You saw how fast I killed it. We have increase maximum health. We have this incinerate one, which is really good because remember, we're applying burn as well, but the moment burn ends on an enemy, you're going to inflict ash. So you have burn and ash proccing every single time constantly, which is really good. Once again, we're guys get weapon damage here because we have to, but over in general, we want this one, which is going to increase your resistant piercing by 15%. So that means more resistant piercing. Guess what, guys? Yes, you heard it correctly. Yes, Jimmy, you're right. Yes, Tony, you're right. More anomaly power. Next up, guys, we have Hot Situation, which is when you activate an immobilize skill, it's going to increase your anomaly power. As you guys hear, stacking up a bunch of anomaly power. Now, this is where we change things up because people don't pick this one, which is Meltdown. This is going to burn, inflicts on enemy, deals 20% more damage. Since we're already applying burn, we're picking up this 20% damage. A lot of people like to go with this one, and when enemies have ash, they want to get 10%. What's better, guys, 10% or 20%? Yep, you're right, 20%. That's why this build is really, really crazy. And then, guys, we have more anomaly power. Once again, here we have more anomaly power. We're also picking up this one, which is going to increase your damage against elites. Always important. We have a nice little cooldown here, and then we have increased explosion skill based damage by 30%. Now, theoretically, we could get rid of this resistant piercing and reduce our anomaly power, and maybe pick this one up here, guys, to give our eruption skill a little bit faster cooldown by 15%. But that I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Want to use that skill a little bit more spammy, you can, and remove this one. You're just going to lose a little bit of anomaly power. I think this is as nice as it could be, where it's giving you a nice amount of power and a nice cycle when it comes to your skills. Now, for the pack tree, guys, we're going down here. Basically, increasing our resistant piercing. Once again, more anomaly power. We're going to be doing our explosive skills. It's going to increase 100% of resistant piercing. More anomaly power. You guys are getting the drift here. This is going to reduce the skill cooldown really good. So, and then we have anomaly power is increased by 30% for every skill cooldown. So when your skills are in cooldown, your anomaly power is getting boosted. And last but not least, activating an explosion skill increases the damage of the next explosion skill by a whopping a lot of percent. That's why I like that skill, this skill right here, which is this one, Overheat, to be really spammy, because that's going to allow us to get that nice boost of damage after we do our cycle. All right, so speaking of rotations, guys, this is where you need to pay close attention, and it's very important because this is where people messes up. They put the build together and they're not doing the same amount of damage, or are dying. This is because you guys didn't pay attention to this part. So there are two types of rotation. Number one, there is the mobbing rotation, and number two, there is the boss rotation. Now, the mobbing rotation is very simple. You're going to overheat. Once you hit overheat, you're going to hit Ash Blast. Now, you got to wait for this Ash Blast to actually take effect, because what people tend to do is they hit overheat, Ash Blast, and then right after that, they hit overheat. No, you want to hit overheat, Ash Blast, wait for the enemies to get ashed, and then once you see the enemies are ashed, which you theoretically, if you see my 40-minute run, that will give you a better idea, an example of how this works. Then you hit overheat and you're able to do an extensive amount of damage, and then it's eruption, okay? And then it's just a cycle over and over and over. Theoretically, by the time these 3 eruptions are done, you should have your overheat. You do this twice, and then you go to the cycle once again. Now, for bosses, it's a little bit different. For bosses, you want to hit the 2 overheats. You're going to want to make sure you pull out your gun, get those crit shots to get that Mage's Rage, Ash Blast, eruption, overheat. That's the combo. Basically, that's what you want to be doing, and that's going to have you melting mobs really fast and really easily. Speaking about melting, if you want to see how this build runs on a tier 40, definitely check out this video that's popping up right now on the screen, or any of these other Outrider videos that are going to have you guys sliding through Outrider content very easily. I have a very crazy techno build coming out called the Bomberman that you're definitely not going to want to miss. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.